Well, my research over the last few years has really focused on questions of national inequality and the scope for redistribution. Now, I think things have changed over the last 5 or 10 years or so, whereby, I mean, perhaps 10 years ago, many developing countries couldn't afford to end extreme poverty. I think now, and my research has shown this, there are a variety of sources where many developing countries, and perhaps 3/4 of extreme poverty, could be addressed relatively quickly. Of course, you'd have to reallocate the resources from things like regressive fossil fuel subsidies, new taxations on those who aren't poor by any international standard, and perhaps reallocation of what we call surplus military spending. That's spending that's higher than the neighbours. And I think if these things were done together, my research and research with Chris Hoy at Sydney University suggests perhaps 3/4 of global poverty, that's extreme poverty, could be addressed relatively simply. Of course, the maths may be fine, but the politics of reallocating resources and new taxes is going to be the real question. So maybe poverty is less about resource scarcity, much of global poverty, and more about politics, political economy, and questions about redistribution now. Well, the good news is over 100 countries already have cash transfer programs. These are monies that try and give redistributory transfers and try to give transfers to the poor, direct them to the poor. I think many countries have these, but I think they're underfunded at present. As I was saying a few moments ago, I think much of global poverty, extreme poverty, could be addressed with these mechanisms, and the research behind the effectiveness of these mechanisms in reducing poverty is very robust when you look at systematic reviews. So I think that the scope for cash transfers to be used is very real. They're there. It's just a question of they're underfunded at present. Well, I think the SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals, are useful. It's good to have a target of ending extreme poverty, but I think that they're too minimal. And even the social protection floor, good as it is, I think we can aim higher in terms of global poverty. I think that the substantial, the $1 trillion a year that developing countries spend on regressive fossil fuel subsidies, or the close to $1 trillion a year we identify in surplus military spending, are potential sources to raise these expectations higher. And extreme poverty is very extreme. It's incredibly low as a poverty line. It's set at $1.90 a day in 2011 PPP. I mean, my research points towards something at least at $2.50, if not $5 a day, would be more reasonable. And actually, the recent research that I've done suggests even up to about $5 a day, 3/4 of global poverty could be addressed through redistribution without having to wait many years for growth.